Joining me now to weigh in, ranking member of the House Oversight Committee, Kentucky Congressman James Comer. Congressman, welcome back up. Scarcity in America is here to stay. Congressman, you know, I can remember boom times in the United States that didn't result in empty store shelves and Christmas being under threat. Isn't this Secretary Pete Buttigieg trying to put lipstick on Biden's pig of an economy?
It is. And if you look at the problem started when the Democrats started printing money. He said we have a demand problem because so many Americans have income and they bought all these goods. Well, the government's been printing money, which, oh, by the way, has created inflation. Not only do we have inflation, we have a crisis at our ports to where there's such a backlog, not only because of the government printing money, but because of excessive regulations that have created a situation where trucks aren't allowed in California because they don't comply with their excessive air standards. We have a shortage of drivers because the Biden administration has created a disruption in the employment system to where people have been off work and they've been getting paid not to work. And now we have a crisis because the Biden administration has forced vaccines on a lot in the private sector who have just said enough is enough and I'm walking off the job. So all of these problems have compounded to the situation where we're going to have empty shelves in addition to massive inflation.
Well, the good news is, despite the basket of biased press and Mayor Pete jumping out there, the American people aren't buying what they're selling. New Rasmussen poll shows 51% of voters rate Biden's handling of the economy as poor. This, as recent polling reveals, Biden's performance is hurting Democrats' electoral prospects. Congressman, with crisis after crisis after crisis, which has been the hallmark of Biden's occupation of the Oval Office thus far, many believe that not even socialist Democrats are this stupid and that all of this harm that's being done to our country is intentional. What do you think? You think they're doing this to America on purpose?
I think that the socialists may be that stupid, but I think the average Democrat, the old Democrats that used to be Democrat because they were workers and they believed that the Democrat Party used to stand for the working men and women, I believe they see through this. They're reminded, if they're old enough, of the Jimmy Carter days and the misery index that Ronald Reagan created to identify all the problems that Jimmy Carter's policies created. We're going back to that time. We're going to have to bring back the misery index because we know we have inflation. It's only going to get worse. And you're going to see the government react with higher interest rates to try to combat this. But the last thing the government needs to do to combat inflation is to print more money, which is what that budget reconciliation bill does. So not only do we have crisis after crisis that is 100% because of Biden policies, we have their only potential solution is printing more money, which will only make the problem even worse.
Yeah, we're already working on a misery index here at Newsmax. We'll keep you posted. Meantime, the Biden administration is working on finalizing a vaccine mandate for employers with 100 or more staff members. Reports say the ruling could come down as soon as this week, or this policy. It's affecting hundreds of thousands of Americans. Please tell me the Republicans are ready with legal challenges. This is clearly an unconstitutional mandate.
Absolutely. We go back to Washington, D.C. tomorrow, and this is at the top of the agenda. We've been off for a week. We've listened to private employers say we have an employment crisis. They've been saying that for, ever since Biden took office. But now you've got a situation which we saw with Southwest Airlines and we're seeing with other companies where workers are just going to walk away from the job because they don't want to be forced by the federal government to be vaccinated. This takes away their liberties. This takes away their freedom. And this is the first step of many more liberties being infringed upon. So the American workers saying enough is enough. The workers know they hold all the cards right now because for the first time in my adult life, there's a shortage of workers in every industry. So this is a problem that the Republicans are going to try to challenge in the courts. We're going to be signing on to every lawsuit. We're going to be doing amicus briefs. We're going to do whatever we can to help with the cause. But I'm afraid the courts are getting backlogged like the ports because there are so many bad policies that conservatives are trying to remedy through the court system now. And thanks to Trump, we have good judges and we have a chance now in the courts to undo all the wrongdoing of the Biden administration. But it's getting so backlogged now in the courts, it may take weeks. And we can't afford to have any more crises with our labor situation right now.
Congressman, you took me right where I wanted to go. These mandates from government and woke corporations, they're threatening, as you already alluded to, our economy, our national security, and our public safety. Shouldn't the Republicans be running on passing a bill that protects our medical choices from discrimination, just like our religion is protected, our race is protected, and our sexual orientation is protected? And why aren't Republicans running on this?
Well, if Republicans aren't, we need to be. This is just as big an issue as religious liberties. I mean, more and more people that I've never seen talk about politics are coming up to me frustrated. They're worried about their future. They're worried about the federal government. I've never seen such a fear of the federal government by rank and file Americans because of the Biden vaccine mandates. Everyone remembers during the campaign when Joe Biden said he would not do this. And may remember when Nancy Pelosi said at a press conference that Congress can't force people to be vaccinated. And they changed. And when did they change? They changed on the day the press was hammering Joe Biden over the debacle in Afghanistan. I believe Joe Biden put that mandate on to try to divert attention away from his mishandling of Afghanistan. And now it's snowballed into all the other crises with the labor shortage, with inflation. And this is something Republicans have to take a stand on. I don't know a single Republican in Congress right now that is in favor of vaccine mandates. And this is something that the American people overwhelmingly oppose vaccine mandates. And this is an issue that Republicans better be campaigning on in the midterms.